Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advand Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, Cutthroat Cure here. I'm filling in for Polar Bear Cub tonight. He had some personal things he had to do, so he decided to let Kevin and I take off with the cast again. Once again, Kevin, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin, .org on the forums.
And tonight we actually have ourselves a special guest all the way from the West Coast, actually taking a little bit of time out of the sun and the shine. We actually have a guest tonight.
Hi, my name's Tyson, Coach. Also PG Minelker on the Privateer Press boards.
Now, some people might know Tyson from some of his fame lately. He created a Haley that actually lights up, didn't you, Tyson?
Yeah, I did that actually for Jay over at Discount Games. I was fortunate enough able to talk him into it. He was, can you do a Haley 3 for me? I'm like, well, how about I do this instead? And then it was all over.
Yeah, and I also like that the first time we get a reputable Convergence player on here that, we don't have Tony on, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, see, Tony play Convergence?
Well, he owns Convergence. We'll go with owns, and then we'll go from there. Speaking of Convergence, actually, you were one of the people who designed the Convergence table that was at Las Vegas Open 2015.
Yes. Is it because the years always get 2016, which was the beginning of this year. Yeah. Okay. So I designed it and I built it all in about a span of 2 weeks before the event. So
wait, I'm sorry. 2 weeks before the event, you were like, I feel like building a table?
Well, no, not like I feel like. It was more like, oh shit, I need to get this done. I've been putting it off. And I'm finally getting all the parts from the laser cut people. And then, I took like 2 weeks of vacation. So that's all I did for like 2 weeks. So
I have to ask this one question real quick. What the hell goes through a person's mind to be like, I played this game Warmachine and Hordes, but you know what this game needs more of? Tables that move.
Well, I like building terrain also on top of, painting and modeling, all the other things I do. But just kind of going more elaborate, and I really from I believe it was the Warmachine weekend or it's the TempleCon board that was very similar to that, where they had they're like this kind of gear mechanic. It might have been Mechanica Studios that did it. I'm trying to remember the name. But so I wanted to do something similar to that. I had a Convergence army also, and so as I keep stepping up the projects and making cooler and cooler things for LVO. Because one of the things that I really enjoyed about some of the larger cons is you go there and the tables are really cool. Like you go to Lock and Load or what used to be TempleCon when they had all their boards there. And, the experience of being able to play on these really cool boards that most people don't have access to, that you'll see in pictures or media or battle reports like that, and actually being able to show up and have a chance to play on them is something that I think not everyone appreciates, but enough people appreciate that it's worth having a decent set of them for the event. So every year I've been trying to make one. I think the second year of LVO, I didn't make one. And then this last year, then I made this Convergence table. It was a lot of fun. And it was also fun. I did a whole project blog on it that you can see on the forums under my name or on the website, figurepainters.com. I also have a whole tutorial section there. So it's, the step-by-step, like everything from CAD designs all the way through laser cutting, through, all the parts that you use. I really enjoy kind of providing all this extra information for people that they don't necessarily need to copy it exactly, but if someone ever had an idea of like, oh, I want to do this, how is it possible, or it kind of gives people can feed off of it and use these ideas to build creations of their own.
Yeah, I know one of my favorite ones was actually when you did your updated army case. That was a really cool one.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I was kind of sad that I didn't get the clear plastic front one.
Right.
And kind of do the same thing, but it's really fun kind of walking in and you have this nice, big, painted glowing stainless steel Convergence logo on the front of the case. It's pretty cool. That was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun project to watch because I remember for a bit you were like super strong on posting, and then it looked like you may have taken a little bit of a break. And I remember just checking it all the time, being like, update. And then when there was finally one, I was like, yes, I was so excited.
Well, yeah, we're all getting I'll do the project all at once, and usually I'll have spurts because I'm usually pretty busy. So I'll have, like, this last time I put up like 3 tutorials in a week, but those are like 6 months or a year's worth of stuff. It's like, all right, I'm gonna do this now, and then I do it and I finish it all at once, and then other stuff's building up, and I gotta go back and catch up on things.
So let's tell the viewers why we brought you on here. So as some people may know, coming up soon is the actual LVO, correct?
Yes, also known as Las Vegas Open.
And as the name might pertain, it is held in Las Vegas.
Yes. This year it's February 3rd through the 5th. Or sorry, next year.
That's out of the Bally's Casino, correct? That was the same location that it was last year?
Correct. Yes, it will be in Bally's Casino. This year, actually, I think we're doubling the amount of space we had last year too. So it's going to be ginormous.
Well, and I was looking over your site, and for those of you, obviously, our main focus is the Warmachine and Hordes events, but I'm looking over the sites and the different games that are being played, and you've got the token games that you always see. You've got Warhammer and 40K and Age of Sigmar and Malifaux and all that stuff. But this is like a full-on gaming convention. They even have a game called Grunts. I have never even heard of this game, and there is an event around this game.
Yeah, we do have Reese, who is the one of the owners of Frontline Gaming, and also the main head of Las Vegas Open. Frontline Gaming runs Las Vegas Open. They're really into the gaming community itself, and as far as they know a lot of these smaller publishers and kind of indie publishers, and with the I'm trying to think, who'd they have there? I think they had it wasn't Gears of War. It was some other mech game. But they had the creator there from one of these mech games that was there. Then they did a whole scenario or demo or mini tournament with that. So they have a lot of these other side ones that people will come in and run too.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant list. For those who want to see what the actual list is, they have a website out there. It's and correct me if I get this wrong, Tyson. It's lasvegasopen.net.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of information out there about the tournaments and the events. So let's take a couple seconds to go over the Warmachine. Like, what can we expect when it comes to Warmachine and Hordes at Las Vegas Open, both in run events and, the stuff like, Iron Arena and stuff like that going on?
Okay, so here I'll go through the schedule really quickly itself. So Friday we have Iron Gauntlet, and then that's going to run most of Friday, and then we'll probably play the final game Saturday morning, because if you play a 64-man Iron Gauntlet all the way through, it takes forever, and it's kind of miserable. So we're going to split that up. Then starting that afternoon at about 4 o'clock, I think dice roll is the team tournament. So it's a 3-man WTC style pairings team tournament. You can show up even if you don't have a team. We've always been able to put teams together, and we've never not had a full team. As far as we'll pull a PG that's ready for it, so we can make sure everyone's got a full team of 3 to play. And then they roll out at it, and that's going to be done about, I think, midnight or 1. Typically, as far as Las Vegas Open goes, it's not a 24-hour comp, because we're in Vegas itself. There's so much other stuff to do. So usually the hall shuts down between midnight or 1. The Warmachine people are the last ones out. So whenever our tournament's done, the hall's kind of done, and you go off and go have a lot of other fun. So you're not locked up in the hall all day. Then starting Saturday morning is our Warmachine Masters Qualifier Tournament. Which is, we'll take I think we play 5 rounds, so we'll have 8 undefeated, and then after that, so you can still lose a game and make it into Sunday Masters, and that plays for 5 rounds, and it starts at about 9, and then we have a Who's the Boss tournament that starts at noon, so we'll have the whole Who's the Boss layout. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to painting everything this year, but we'll definitely have all the models and a decent amount of it painted. And then we have another Masters Qualifier tournament that starts at 2 p.m. Oh, sorry. So we'll take the top 8 from the first one. So you get 4 undefeateds and then 4 X and 1s from each one of them. And then Sunday, we'll have the Warmachine Masters Finals. That's for the Warmachine Weekend Invitational, and also the LVO plane ticket, which is a $500 reimbursement for plane fare to get you to Warmachine Weekend. So that's, and then we'll have also spell draft that afternoon on Sunday. And then closing ceremonies are about 6:30 or 7 o'clock. And then we close it all up, give away all the loot, which will have piles and piles of stuff. If you've seen some of the pictures from last year, with, probably easily, $4,000, $5,000 worth of stuff on that table. So there's quite a bit of free stuff to give out, either provided by the vendors or just purchased by LVO as through vendors to give away. We'll also have Privateer Press there. They were there last year, and so they'll bring all their pre-releases, posters, tons of widgets, all kinds of stuff to give away. So we're literally throwing stuff at people, and we can usually make sure actually everyone walks away with at least a little bit of something. And then you talked about Iron Arena. So Iron Arena runs all day, every day from about 9 to 10 a.m. To midnight, or whenever the last tournament ends. So the typical Iron Arena where you earn points, you can redeem points. We'll have scrambles. We'll have privateer press staff that are involved in the scrambles, and then we'll also have other. We can have fun events in Iron Arena, or set up like special scenarios, or commandeer all the special tables for a few hours for Iron Arena. So there's all kinds of cool things we can do, and then also there's open gaming, which is separate from Iron Arena, whereas you just get your con badge. So there's two different badges for this event. There's a con badge, which for $40 you get in for the whole weekend. That gets you in the LVO door. And then you can go participate in a lot of the free events that they have. And one of the free events is open Warmachine gaming. So you can come, you can play pickup games with friends. You just can't play in anything structured. So if you play in something structured, say like a scramble, staff tournaments, or any of the main tournaments, then there's Warmachine specific, I guess you call it an add-on ticket. So it's structured in a similar way as Adepticon does, which as the conventions get larger and more diverse as far as allocating funds to where the tournaments need them, that's how they've decided to split that out.
So it becomes a scenario where, for the most part, when you come to this convention, and you're starting to see other cons do it, some of the smaller ones, but when you start seeing other cons coming along, it becomes a scenario where when you go to this tournament, it's not just about competitive play. It's not just funsies. It's not just, the wonky scenarios or stuff like, who's the boss or anything. There's literally going to be an event available for you, no matter what type of gameplay you choose to play when it comes to Warmachine and Hordes.
Correct.
So now I want to touch on a couple things that you mentioned here. Now, one of the things that perked my ear up immediately is the mention of the paid airplane flight. So explain that to me again real quick. So the Warmachine Weekend qualifier potentially gets a paid flight?
Quick question. Is this the first Warmachine Weekend qualifier of the 2017 year?
I would have to look at their schedule, but we're maybe the first or second. We're pretty early on in the season.
I would say, especially in February, you guys have to be near the beginning, because I remember it used to be TempleCon, and even they were after you guys. So.
And typically by this time they haven't announced it yet. So we've had an established record with them, and then I'll talk to Carl and say, hey, we still good this for this year. Then he'll usually say, hey, yeah, you are, and then I'll announce it. So we're kind of on the list of usually gets in because we're large enough now.
So good terms.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to play nice. But yeah, so even last year, so Jeff Everett, who won last year, is probably in a few weeks on his way down from Canada, on our dime, to go down to Warmachine Weekend. So,
wow.
But yeah, so it's the winner. So yeah, so at the Masters finals, at the end of the day, the last man standing, he gets a trophy, he gets a bunch of swag, he'll get the Warmachine Weekend ticket invitational for their qualifier, and he'll get a $500 travel voucher from LVO.
Wow, that's freaking amazing. I haven't actually heard of another con do something like that, to basically go, not only have you won and we're sending you to Warmachine Weekend, but we're going to help you get there.
Exactly. It's a little different than, it helps bridge the line between just giving people cash, like, hey, here's cash, where it's something that people will think that feels a little more worthwhile, and it's also something that's very has a very specific purpose that I guess you could say reinvests it back into the Warmachine community to get them to help get someone that's qualified to Warmachine Weekend.
You're kind of solidifying somebody's ability to go, which is really cool, because not only are you saying, hey, you did a really good job, you won, you can go, you're saying, hey, you can go, and we're going to help send you.
Exactly. Yeah, because what happens if you're some LA boy, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to LVO because it's only like 3 hours away, and then you actually manage to win. You're like, ooh, now how do I do this? Like, I'm in high school or I'm in college, and how does this all work at this point?
Yeah, that sounds legit. So one of the other things that you mentioned that I was kind of curious about is you were talking about the team tournament, and you made mention that the team tournament styling was more WTC. So this would be akin to there's two different main quote unquote types of team tournaments. One is the kind of captain's chair tournament where somebody's the captain, somebody's the lieutenant, and somebody's a first mate or something like that, and that's your 1, 2, 3 pairing. But you're actually talking about a scenario where you're going to have people who choose pairings and table locations similar to the way they did at WTC?
Correct. It's not it's basically the same. So you'll have one team, they'll usually roll off to decide who's A and B. And then one team puts down one list, the other team puts down 2 lists, the first team picks the pairing, then the other team adds another list, then the other team picks the pairing, and then the last pairing's set, and then whoever didn't effectively pick 2 pairings goes to pick the tables. So when you see it in writing and like the step A, step B, step C, it's more clear, but that's effectively how it works.
So is this the first year that you've done that?
No, actually I did it. Gosh, have I done it all 3 years? Well, the first year, I think I just ran a regular captain's chair tournament. And then the second and third year, I believe I know I did WTC pairings last year. I do not remember about the second year though.
Okay. I'm just kind of curious because I know that, a lot of people have made mention of, well, if we have a 3-team tournament, if we do the WTC, and a lot of people are like, well, when you have such a reduced number going from 5 pairs to 3 pairs, that the person who gets to pick 2 pairs has such a strong lead. And I'm curious if you have any weigh in on that.
No, I agree. Actually, the person who picked that one team does get to effectively pick 2 out of the 3 pairs. Though table assignments help with that a little bit, it does weigh that one team a little. But since it's not a qualifying event for our Sunday Masters, it's more of just a fun casual event, and it doesn't necessarily mean you can't win those matches. And people aren't teching against. They're building strong lists, but you don't know who your pool is. And so it's a little, it's more of a casual fun event. So if it was a national invitational event and it was in that format, it would probably be a problem just having 3-man teams at that point.
Yeah, there's also the fringe benefit of giving people some exposure to this mythical format that only 10 people out of the country or 15 people with 3 teams now out of the country get to experience. So I can definitely see a lot of people being interested in just seeing what that type of format looks like.
Yeah, and the feedback I've gotten is almost across the board positive, that they enjoy playing this more than just the team, where you have a player A, B, and C, and then player A, B, and C matches up against each other, because they're more involved in the pairing process, and everyone kind of gets to, met other lists and, think about what's good against other lists and pair things up. So it's a little more of an active pairing style, besides just going to your set of 3 tables and, I'm magically playing this person across from me.
So one of the things that we've got going on is, for those of you who might not know, is that myself and Pokey will be going to Las Vegas Open, potentially Souls, we don't know yet. But one of the reasons that we were kind of excited about this was that there is a thing called, during a social event, called a daytime social events. And it's basically the ability for, while the players are playing games, so like while we're in Masters or on Gauntlet or something like that, our spouses or our significant others have activities to do. They're not just sitting next to the table waiting for us to finish games, or they're in the hotel room waiting for us to finish. They're actually doing other things. So with this kind of, I don't see a lot of cons doing this. Have you seen an increase, or do you hear people in the Warmachine community who are like, I'm coming here because I know that my spouse gets to do something while I'm playing games?
Yeah, there's actually definitely quite a few people that I've talked to that have specifically said, hey, I'm coming because I can't bring my spouse, or gosh, I was talking to someone yesterday. It's like, oh, my birthday is on that same day, but I'm in Canada. I'm like, well, we have spouse events. Talk to your wife. Tell her to, to come down with you. And he's like, oh, I might be able to do that. So it definitely helps a lot when you can turn it into a family vacation per se. Like you come a day or two early, you can see Vegas itself, and then during the weekend we have a lot of events that we can babysit your spouse for you and take them and go do a lot of other things while we play Warmachine. There's also board games, but as far as the significant other events, just going through quickly, Friday they have a meet and greet. So we have LVO will have a person that organizes all this, takes everyone everywhere, introduces people so they're just not, kind of standing there being all alone. And they can bond over, they can commiserate with their fellows about their husbands having to go play miniature games all day and ignoring them. But so Friday there's a meet and greet, and then it looks like they're going to the High Roller Ferris wheel. Saturday, they're going to go to Fremont Street, and then they're also going to go to the Neon and Mob Club. Sunday's a chocolate tasting. Looks like there's a few other events on top of that, and then that's just during the day. And I'm sure that that schedule can also expand depending on what people want to do, how many people they have doing it. Just looking at last year, there's at least probably about 25 people here that were doing that. So it's not like it's going to be just a small group of 3 or 4 people. There will actually be a large group of people to hang out with and go do things with. And then we also have a nighttime social events, which are like dinner, clubbing. Let's see, what else are they going? Comedy bar, maybe. So there's all kinds of different things outside of just gaming alone at LVO to do. If you're not a gamer.
So how many years have you guys been doing that?
This will be, I believe, the 4th year for LVO.
And you guys have seen a lot of success with that?
Yes, we've been almost doubling in size every year. So Warmachine, I've usually added about 50% every year. 40K, even though we don't want to talk about them too much, but I think their grand tournament is almost at 400 people this year. It's crazy. Yeah, no, I believe LVO this year is 100,000 square feet, something about that. So we're expecting, every year we're trying to make it bigger and better. Put a lot of effort in having great terrain. Every table has, so also Frontline Gaming is the producer of Fat Mats, who actually have a license from Privateer Press now to produce mats for them. So every year we've had, every table's covered in Fat Mat. It's great terrain on every table. The terrain is dense, so if you come to LVO, bring Pathfinder. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, I definitely have to say that I want to throw a small shout out right now to Frankie at Frontline Gaming. He's actually providing Advanced Maneuvers with one of those mats for us to do a review on, to let the viewers know just exactly the material and the quality that they have produced. So I definitely, have nothing but mad respect for Frontline Gaming. So.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear they're hooking you guys up for that. So we take pride in producing a great product because, conventions are a product. People are coming there to, play a game and have a good time. And it's our job to make sure things run smoothly, things run on time. There's great price support. People feel like they're getting a value for what they're paying for. We do acknowledge that LVO is one of the more expensive con ticket prices, I think in the con circuit right now, but it's also in Vegas, so that offsets some things. Plane flights are generally cheaper, hotels a little cheaper, but then, food's more expensive. You are in Vegas, there are more people. It depends what you like. Some people just don't like Vegas, some people love it. So, we always love having people there, and if there's certain things that they don't feel like they're getting out of coming to LVO, then we're not sorry that they're not coming, but hopefully, we can eventually bring something to the table to entice those people in also.
So you've got gaming, you've got Masters, you've got Iron Gauntlet, you've got Who's the Boss, you've got casual play, you've got Iron Arena, you've got social events for the spouses. It's in Vegas, so dear God, there's nothing you shouldn't be bored at any point in time. I see you've got hobby events, you've got casual gaming, you've got great eats. If after hearing this, I'm like, oh my dear God, I have to go to this show. This sounds amazing. What's the best way for me to get tickets or sign up, or what do I need to do to go to the show?
So you go to the website, lasvegasopen.net, and at the very top, there's going to be a registration link. And you're going to click that, and I'm going to play follow along right now. And then there's going to be a Las Vegas Open, say we'll start the top 3-day pass, that's the door pass. So you'll get a wristband that lets you get in the door, and it lets you do whatever free you want at that point. And then as you keep scrolling down, you're going to see all the different events, and you're going to keep going down until you're going to see the Warmachine events. So we offer individual day passes. So say you can only come for 1 day or you can come for 2 days. You can just buy those day passes to save yourself a little bit of money. Or there's a 3-day pass, which will get you in for all 3 days for all the events, no matter what you want to play in for Warmachine. And then after that, you email me, and then in the directions for the events for Warmachine, at the very top in bright red letters is my email address, Tyson@figurepainters.com. I'm the TO for the event. I coordinate everything Warmachine for LVO, and I will add you on. So I have a registry list of people checking in. We should have effectively infinite room for most tables, or most events, but as far as at some point, I think at 128 or at 256, I might need to cap some events. So as we start getting closer to there, I'll add in information to that.
So I know you mentioned that Privateer Press is going to be there, and they're bringing the store, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Last year they had a giant pile of pre-releases, pins, all this stuff. They don't have their standard store that you'll see at Lock and Load that has everything in their product range. But the stores you'll see, like say at Gen Con or the other conventions that they'll typically they'll go to, they'll have that there.
Sweet. So do you know from the hobby standpoint, because I know, Tyson, you are quite a fan of that, will they be doing the P3 painting competition?
No, LVO itself has let me pull up the name of it. They will have, let me go back, sorry, I'm clicking through links really quickly to get to it. So they have the Draconic Awards and also Crystal Brush. So those are the painting competitions they have there.
Ah.
And then they also have, looks like, hobby classes. They have a paint and take. They have speed painting competitions, or some of the other hobby events are there. And they've also had classes. So they'll have some excellent painters come in that they'll bring in, and then they'll teach the whole weekend. They're sitting there teaching classes on basing, painting styles, painting techniques, doing questions and answers and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So basically, if you guys aren't picking it up, this show is an amazing show, and if you have not signed up for it or you have any desire to do it, you need to get on the ball right now. We're at the tail end of October, going into November. You've got, give or take, 3 months to plan this out. You should be going to this show.
Yeah, and actually, I believe the hotel might be like 60 to 75% full. So you definitely don't want to miss out on the hotel block.
Yes,
So,
yeah. If anybody's gone to Vegas, getting a hotel block is primo important because it reduces your cost pretty significantly.
yes.
So what is your favorite part? I know as a TO myself, as we've had Jonathan Leclerc from the Nova Open on here before, as a TO, I know it can be kind of hard sometimes to find some of those fun moments, especially when you're being, you're getting stressed and you're having to run around running all these events. What would you say is personally your favorite part of the LVO?
Oh, Sunday night, 8:00. That's when it's all over and I finally get to sit down. Actually, most of it's pretty fun. Things usually run very smoothly. Being able to be the hand of God there helps a lot. As far as, anything I need from Reese, I just kind of get. And then having enough helpers. So I have some very, very good staff. So Demon Calibre, which is the official Privateer Press judge that we have that helps run a lot of things. This year, Gail should be there also, and I forget her Privateer Press handle, but she runs Kingdom Con. And then the legion of press gangers we will have helping there. Helps everything run pretty smoothly. And just actually the chance to see everyone. All the people you only see 2-3 times a year, getting to talk to them, hang out with them, seeing everyone have a fun time, seeing everyone enjoying themselves for the whole weekend is a big fun, big part of the fun. Because otherwise, it's I probably work 16 to 18 hours a day, for those 3 days to kind of make sure everything runs smoothly and kind of keep on top of everyone. So
Yeah,
it's a very long weekend, but it's very rewarding and a lot of fun.
Anybody who's ever gone to a con can fully appreciate how much work. Well, I guess actually can't fully appreciate because they haven't done it, but anyone who's gone to enough cons recognizes that a tournament organizer most of the time doesn't sleep during the con and puts in just an insane amount of effort to make it amazing for everybody.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding because it's the culmination of 6 months worth of work and hundreds of hours of preparing terrain, preparing packets, logistics, making sure all the staff is in place, making sure everyone knows what they're doing, and all the small little associated things that go along with that. And then making the table and hopefully maybe even the painting of some Who's the Boss figures. We'll see.
I think I can officially recognize that you're certifiable for doing all of this work.
Just a little bit.
So you mentioned the table from last year. What are your plans for the table this year?
Okay, so this year is going to be even better. So last year was lights and moving parts. So I need to do something more and better. So more and better.
You also had smoke, didn't you?
No, not this year. No, this upcoming one will have smoke. We'll have a smoke machine. So it's the theme in general. It's an underground Cephalix biofactory. Even though technically they don't grow their people in bio chambers, but that's what's going to be kind of not Matrix style, but I guess you would call it post-apocalyptic. What would be the sci-fi term? Anyways, but you can have drudges and biopods, like in these bio chambers full of resin, that will have glowing lights and stuff like that. So there'll be a big sideboard full of ranks and ranks of them. So you can kind of imagine some like these post-apocalyptic biofactory kind of thing. Going up the sideboards. The whole baseboard itself is kind of going to be an industrial slash steampunky themed. It's going to have LED wire traces, lit wire traces that kind of run all through it with all kinds of vents. So it's going to be raised. The whole underneath area is going to glow red. So you have all these vents and ports and grilling all over it. So you can have this red glowing on it. You'll have a those globes that are magnetized that float and slowly spin, that you put on your desk as a toy.
Yep.
So 2 of those, like the C-channel ones, will be up on the sideboard floating. They'll be repainted with like Cephalix runes. And so they'll be there floating in like this glowing alcove, slowly rotating. And then I think I'll have siphons, so kind of Matrix style tubing coming up from the sideboard up to siphon, like hovering over the table, and put like a small crank in it so he's slowly like moving around in a circle. And so like all the tubes are filling into the back of his that little biopod thing he floats around in, whatever that is. And then I'll have in the middle of the board those plasma panels. So like, the plasma spheres, like you put your finger on and like electricity chases your finger around.
Mm-hmm.
So they make similar ones to that are flat. So I'm going to build one of those into the board also. And then on the sideboard, I don't know if it'll be on the small sideboard or the large sideboard, is they're going to be making their colossal or their gargantuan monstrosity. So I'm going to take that Skaven rat colossal monstrosity thingy they have.
The abomination.
Yeah, that thing. So I'm going to make it look like a drudge. So you take the rat heads off, you put drudge heads on. The heavies, the little skull encasement things they have. Change out the weapons, and you have it like breaking out of its like biopod chamber and like resin water flowing all over the place. And then to top it off, I'm going to have a smoke machine hooked up to all this. So there's going to be smoke coming out of the table. There'll be smoke pouring off the vents off the sideboard. And I think that's about it for it. I got 4 months to make it.
That's about it. As if it wasn't enough. So I have a suggestion for 2018's table. Yes. I suggest, if you're going to go bigger and better, I suggest you create the wall, the Menoth wall, the big giant wall that they have. Mm-hmm. And then you have flame exhaust ports in the bottom of the table, and when the player death clocks themselves, flames erupt out of the table and melt the person's army.
That would definitely be a death clock-ish army.
There is definitely a reason we do not allow Kevin to play on our tables on the channel.
A little gasoline will make it interesting. Less editing for me to do.
So what do you guys in order to play on that table, is it a freeform table or is it one just for events or?
I'll usually cycle it in. So at some point we'll have it part of Iron Arena and people can play on it. So I'll have one of my Iron Arena TOs. I'm saying, okay, you can use these tables. And then they'll come over and they'll grab people in games. And as they set up scrambles, is usually the way I'll integrate the boards into the Iron Arena. And then so, some scrambles will play on it for a little while. And then say some other round in the tournament, then I'll take them back over into the tournament. And then tournament players play onto them. And we'll also have one will usually end up over at the streaming table for a little while, or it'll be just a dedicated streaming table. So they kind of shuffle around, and then anytime no one's not playing on them, Open Gaming has access to them also.
That's all. I am so glad I'm going to this con just to be able to see these tables and do all this stuff. It's going to be amazing. So we ran a bit long. I want to close it out with something that as kind of a prep work. So I'm packed up. I've got my tickets. I've got my badge. I'm ready to go. I'm about to get on the airplane. What is the one thing I should not forget to do or bring when I come out to Las Vegas Open?
Ooh, what is the thing that most people either forget? Well, we sell about anything you need there. So if you forget any hobby supplies or tape measures or dice, we have you covered. That's probably cards. With the prevalence of the new War Room, though, that's not as bad, but people showing up without cards is the quickest way to end your weekend. Or missing miniatures. Make sure to do a double check through your whole list, especially if you're playing in Masters or want to play, in any of the qualifiers or the competitive events. Make sure you have all your models. Do it like a triple check. Actually, look at your list and just don't assume, oh yeah, I grabbed the tray that has my War Witch in it or something like that. And then you show up to LVO and you're like, oh, I don't have a War Witch, and then you have to run around and try to find one. I think that's really the only big thing. And stay hydrated. That's a big one too. Advil and hydration.
Well, I want to take the time to thank you for coming on and giving us kind of a quick rundown of Las Vegas Open. I know I was already going to Las Vegas Open before we even had this. I am super psyched out to go to it now. So I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate Frontline Gaming, running the event and having it so that we can go out and run through your tournaments. It's going to be an awesome time. If you have not made plans to go to Las Vegas Open and it's even been an inkling for you, gaming in Vegas is awesome. You should be doing it. You should be going to this event. Why are you still listening to this podcast? Go sign up. And with that, I wanted to thank everybody for listening to another episode of Turn Extension. And thank you and good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you very much.